Ryan, thank you so much for your time. It's nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. See some familiar things behind you.
I love that missed minutes that I got, thanks to Marvel Studios, of course, for covering Loki and some concept art over here from geez, I can't remember his name. I apologize, I'm blanking out. For
Andy Park.
Yes, Andy Park. Thank you. I appreciate that. He's it's one of my favorite drawings that he's done. So I appreciate it. So for what if I've been talking to some of your colleagues, and it obviously takes an Avengers team to put it together. Everybody does a specific job, and it all comes together harmoniously. What is your role in bringing this to life?
Um, yeah, I was fortunate enough to be sort of the head of vision development and character design on this show, which meant I was on very early working with Brad and Bryan to try and figure out the look of the characters and sort of the style of the show. That took the form of really doing character designs early on to try and explore the different styles we could go down. Bryan had sort of pitched the show as being done with JC Leindecker's art in mind, and sort of seeing the characters through that filter. So a lot of what I was doing on early on was trying to look at JC Leindecker's art, which I've loved for many, many years, and seeing what we could translate, what was applicable in an animation sort of format, because his work is so well designed and so gorgeous, but it's very, it's very complicated in its execution, and we don't have quite as many elements, bells and whistles that we can put into animation. So I was working on trying to design characters like Peggy and Steve and Hydra Stomper and zombie Captain America and Doctor Strange early on to try and nail down what the style is. And then once we sort of had that look approved, it was more about just trying to look at each episode and where they were going to go with the story and with each character, and do the drawing that was going to really nail that design. And in some cases it took exploration for characters, like the evil Doctor Strange took a number of versions to get right, but it was a lot of fun to work on.
That was actually a really cool character. You're as that character transforms from the Doctor Strange we all know and love. Well, actually, in this case, Stephen Strange, and then he develops. I think that was a lot of fun. You guys got real creative with that. In every layer that you added to him. How long did that take, or were there some things maybe that didn't work that you guys thought of for him, because he ended up looking really really cool.
Yeah, I mean that episode's very interesting in the series, because it's the one where it's so much about Doctor Strange that if you go back and count how many versions of Doctor Strange are actually visually in that episode, there's a lot. So all of the design work for that episode, not all of it, a lot of it went towards him. So that took a long time. I mean, essentially trying to get the main main costume from what we know as the MCU, doing the evil version where he had incorporated the antler creature and then the tentacle beast, and then like every single one of those had to be unique in a specific way. So I can't speak to the specific timing of it. I don't remember exactly, but that was a large chunk of time trying to figure out just what he looked at generally, how he fit in the style, and how to stylize him for that show, how to get the evil variation of it, and seeing those two characters, face off with each other. And then every single one of the variations, that came up was a little bit time consuming as well, because there's just so many of them.
And being that these are now iconic characters that we've seen for over a decade, did that make it any easier or any tougher to develop some of these new versions of them?
Iconic characters are kind of what Marvel's bread and butter are. Like the notion of all the stuff we've done in the films have always been trying to execute amazing characters that everybody will hopefully fall in love with and want to keep watching in stories. So I think in some ways, because we have that awesome set of reference from the MCU stuff now to base a lot of the what if stuff on, from my point of view, it was interesting, because having that sort of firm basis of what the MCU characters look like, and then having the what if branch timeline to say this is exactly what's different, it became a very clear thought experiment of like, if this happens, what would the character look like? And there was to me it was actually a real fun challenge, a real fun character design challenge, and fun storytelling challenge.
When you work on a character, is there something in particular, a detail, something that goes into the backstage, for lack of a better term, that we as an audience are going to miss, that you're particularly proud of?
Oh wow, with this series, I don't know if there's anything that I mean, there's little like silly things, which I'm going to say, and it's not important to the designer. It's not like an Easter egg or anything, but there, because the Hydra Stomper is so big and Steve is
Mhm.
so little, there's actually little metal pieces that form a ladder that go up the front of his body. Because in order to get into it, he'd have to climb up the front. So I mean, there's stuff like that. That's just it's. I don't know if that would be a fun thing for people to realize, but they're like the fact that literally the design of the Hydra Stomper has a ladder built into it because Steve is so small. Um, that's one thing.
Well, no, well, yeah, no, that's what I mean. I work in a print shop where sometimes I make just these giant posters of a hospital code of conduct or whatever. Nobody's ever gonna look at it and know that I spent 3 or 4 hours just typing all that out. I'm proud of it. No one else in this world is gonna ever care. So yeah, details like that. Luckily, avid Disney fans, Marvel fans, I'm sure that in the future we'll point that out in a post saying, check out this detail that we missed. I've
Right.
seen that so many times, and it comes through the your hard work and everything you guys do for these characters. Tell me, what was your experience in working with the What If? What was your favorite character per se to work on?
I think the easy answer for me is Peggy and Steve and the Hydra Stomper is sort of like a team. I think because we were working on that episode first, and it was the notion of figuring those characters out as well as the style. It was hugely challenging to do it, but it was also a lot of fun. I had a lot of involvement in Captain America: The First Avenger, so the
Hmm.
idea of revisiting that similar type of tone of film in that era with the characters being different in a compelling way was some of the most fun stuff. And Captain America and Iron Man and those icons having sort of a new life in a different way is stuff that I'm just always gonna really respond to. It was a lot of fun. And Peggy is a character. She's so I've always been a fan of that character, and the idea that we get to sort of turn her into a superhero and give her a really great story. It was great.
You took my next question right out of my mouth, because Laura also mentioned that working on that score for that first episode of Peggy Carter was one of her favorites to work on. And I know for me, I just enjoyed the same way. What thing you're saying is just a different version of Peggy, and I almost wish that we would have got more live action, something like that. Who knows, down the road, because of this kind of almost experiment that is What If. Who knows what can happen? I mean, multiverse, right?
I mean, I think the idea of the multiverse provides just endless opportunities to do fun and creative things. So I'm excited to see where it all goes too.
What was every obviously every job, everything anyone works on is a learning experience. What was your takeaway from working on What If?
Uh, I think the takeaway for me is how hard animation is. I mean, it's the notion of designing everything and trying to get everything perfect. And if you have really concise ideas about what the style of the show can be, you know, being able to hold true to that, of course, over the course of a whole season is hugely challenging. It's really rewarding, in when it all comes together. But just the challenge of animation has been a lot of fun for me to participate in, and I hope I get to do more.
Well, yeah, I look forward to talking to you again, hopefully for season two. I know that you guys are probably working on that already. Uh, and if not, let me know. Thank you, Ryan, for your time. I appreciate it.
All right, nice to meet you, man.
All
Thank
right,
you.
take care. Nice to meet you too.